So tonight, we're diving into what life was actually like for cavemen. Not the goofy cartoon idea with wooden clubs and random grunting, but the real, everyday experience of humans living around 25,000 years ago. And hey, if you've been enjoying these stories so far, I'd be super thankful if you gave this a like or hit that subscribe button. Also, I'm always curious where you're all tuning in from, so leave a comment with your location and what time it is there. It seriously amazes me how people are falling asleep to this content all across the globe. All right, now settle into a comfy position, take a deep, slow breath, and let yourself completely relax into whatever you're laying on. We're heading all the way back to the Paleolithic era, and trust me, you're going to be real grateful. For that mattress by the time we're done, so congrats, you've just woken up in a cave 25,000 years ago. The very first thing you notice? The cold. Not just a little chilly, but a deep, bone-aching cold that makes your teeth chatter and your muscles tense up on instinct. You're stretched out on what might be the worst bedding imaginable, a rough mix of sedge grass and rushes, carefully gathered and laid out to form some kind of sleeping mat. It's coarse, seriously coarse. The grass blades jab through whatever animal hide you've wrapped yourself in, and every tiny movement you make sets off a rustling, crinkling noise, like the most uncomfortable cereal ever made by nature. Your nose gets hit with a wild blend of smells, thick wood smoke still hanging in the air, something damp and earthy coming off the cave walls, the lingering aroma of last night's cooked meat, and beneath all that, the sharper, raw scent of unwashed human bodies. There's this constant underlying funk of animal fat, the kind they've smeared on things for waterproofing and insulation, mingling with a green plant-like smell from all the dry grass bedding packed around you. You can almost hear the cave itself breathing, if that makes any sense. Faint echoes of water dripping somewhere deeper in the darkness, the soft, steady snoring of maybe 20 other people lying scattered nearby on their own beds of grass. Somewhere close, a baby makes those tiny half-dreaming sounds babies make when they're still asleep. Just outside the cave entrance, you catch the early calls of birds starting their day, and maybe a faint rustle, something small moving through the nearby brush. Your whole body is sore, not just a little, like every part of you aches. Yesterday was long, walking, hunting, foraging, and now every muscle reminds you of it. Your feet, tough like old leather, still sting from climbing over rocks. Your back has that dull, unrelenting stiffness that only comes from a lifetime of sleeping directly on the ground. The good news? You're alive. The bad news? Basically, everything else. Actually, let me rewind for a second. And let's paint this picture properly. You're not some clueless, grunting cave dweller stumbling around in ragged furs. Nah, you're insanely skilled, like survival ninja level skilled. You know the names, textures, and uses of hundreds of plants, which ones heal, which ones feed, and which ones will kill you slow. You can track an animal through the forest just by noticing a single bent blade of grass, a faint scuff on a stone, or the way a branch was brushed aside. You can make fire from scratch with nothing but a spark and dry tinder. You can knap stone into blades sharper than modern steel. You read the clouds, feel the wind, watch the birds, and know what kind of weather is coming just from how they fly. But here's the brutal truth. All that skill, you need every single bit of it just to not die, not to thrive, just to stay alive one more day. You shift slightly on your bed of grass, trying to find some angle that doesn't jam a sharp stem into your ribs. There, that's a little better. The animal hide draped over you, probably deer, maybe elk, is surprisingly warm now that you're not moving. It's been carefully worked, scraped, stretched, and softened until it's flexible enough to sleep in. Well, soft is a relative term in the Stone Age, as your eyes begin to adjust to the dim light of the cave. Adjust to the dim light filtering in from the cave mouth. You begin to make out the familiar shapes around you. Your family group is scattered throughout the main chamber, your mate and children curled up close beside you, while your parents, siblings, and cousins lie in small clusters, all centered around the heart of the space, the fire pit. 23 people in total, which is pretty standard for a group like this. And the fire. Oh man, the fire. It's not just important, it's everything. It's warmth, safety, cooking, light, and protection all rolled into one. Right now, it's nothing more than a mound of softly glowing embers and pale ash. Someone, probably the person who pulled night watch, has kept it alive through the long hours of dark, slowly feeding it bits of wood chosen with care. The embers breathe with color, pulsing red and orange in the heavy cave air, sending slow-moving shadows across the jagged stone walls. And getting that fire going again in the morning? That's no easy task. It's not like flipping a switch. It's a skill, an art, even when you really know what you're doing. That's why your people never ever let it go out completely. There's always someone on ember duty, carefully adding just enough fuel to keep the heat going without burning through too much precious wood. And now you can smell it. That distinct scent of last night's fire, smoky, sharp, and laced with the earthy fragrance of the specific kind of wood that was used. They've been burning mostly oak and ash, with a bit of birch mixed in here and there. Different woods behave in different ways, and your people know exactly which ones to use depending on the need. Cooking, heat, light. Oak gives you a long, steady burn. Birch catches quickly and adds a sweet scent to the air. Pine? Great for getting the flames going, but too smoky for making food. Time to get moving. You push yourself upright on the scratchy mat of grass, and your body complains instantly. Every joint has something to say. Your hip pops, your neck lets out a satisfying little crack. Welcome to life before chiropractors. Around you, others are beginning to wake as well. Someone lets out a massive yawn, the kind that stretches your whole face, and somehow you feel it tug at your own mouth in response. Off to the side, someone else stretches with a groan that echoes softly against the cool cave walls. The morning routine is always the same. Fire comes first. Everything else flows from that. You rise carefully, steadying yourself as you stand. The stone floor is cold against your bare soles, not freezing, but a deep, unshakable chill that settles in. These caves hold a fairly stable temperature all year, warmer than the icy air outside in winter, cooler than the summer heat. But stone is still stone, and it doesn't let go of the cold easily. Your feet, hardened by years of walking barefoot over rough ground, have calluses thick as leather, but even that doesn't block out the cold entirely. As you make your way slowly toward the fire pit, others are beginning to shift and stir too. Carla, hands down the best tracker in your group, is already sitting up, checking over the stone tools she keeps neatly arranged beside her bedding. Brun, probably the closest thing your people have to a leader, is crouched by the fire, studying the glowing embers. His eyes move over the dying coals as he calculates exactly what kind of wood to add next, weighing the balance of heat, flame, and how long it needs to last. Fire pit, which has been carefully constructed in a shallow depression carved into the cave floor. It's lined with stones, not just to hold the fire, but to capture and reflect the heat upward, spreading warmth through the space. The ground around it is worn smooth from generations of people sitting, cooking, crafting, and simply living in this exact spot. You can see the signs, dark stains from old meals, charred marks from embers that fell and flared, polished patches where hands have spent thousands of hours shaping stone into tools. Brun nods at you as you approach. He's already gathered a bundle of fine kindling, dry birch bark, and slender twigs that will take a flame easily. Together you begin to build the morning fire, layering the materials in a careful, practiced structure, starting from the smallest pieces, making sure there's enough airflow for the flames to breathe and take hold. Working in sync, you and Brun lean in and blow gently across the embers, coaxing them back to life. The soft red glow pulses brighter, and then, yes, tiny flames begin to curl up through the birch bark. The scent of smoke thickens, blending with the sharp, dry smell of hot stone and old ash. A few more flickers catch, and then suddenly there it is, real fire again. Dancing, crackling, alive. a flickering warmth that pushes back the cave's shadows and wraps your hands in its gentle heat. Fire is life. Fire means protection, cooking, warmth, and light. It's the barrier between your people and the cold, dark world outside. It's what makes humans different from the animals they share this land with. As the flames grow stronger, more people gather near. Children who were half asleep just a moment ago now sit up, eyes wide and focused. Fire doesn't just mean comfort, it means food, and everyone's stomach is growling now. A quiet reminder that nothing's passed their lips since last night's meal. The good news about being a hunter-gatherer, you don't have to worry about a mortgage, taxes, or a boss hovering over your quarterly performance review. The bad news? Every single day begins with the same two questions. What are we going to eat? And how are we going to get it? Yesterday wasn't bad. The hunters managed to take down a deer, not a massive one, but enough to feed everyone and leave a little extra for today. The gatherers returned with their carrying slings loaded with nuts, roots, and berries. A solid haul. But that was then. Today, it all resets. Every day starts from zero. You fall into the well-practiced rhythm of the morning routine. Someone heads out to fetch water from the nearby stream, crystal clear and icy cold, carried back in stitched animal bladders and hollowed wood containers. Another person begins prepping some of the leftover venison from yesterday's meal, cutting it into strips, warming it slowly over the fire for a quick breakfast. The meat gets skewered on sharpened sticks and held carefully over the fire until it's warmed through. Not exactly cooking, more like reheating last night's leftovers, but in the chill of a Paleolithic morning, even lukewarm meat feels like a gift. The smell of it rises with the wood smoke, mingling into that rich, earthy scent that makes your stomach growl with anticipation. You eat your small share, a strip or two of meat, a handful of nuts from yesterday's haul, while around you, the day's plans begin to take shape. This isn't a business meeting. No schedules, no bullet points, no PowerPoint. It's more like an informal but serious conversation around the fire, and yet the stakes are as high as they get. We're talking survival. The hunting party, maybe 6 or 7 strong, will head east today, following a deer trail someone spotted yesterday. Deer are creatures of habit. Learn their patterns well enough, and you can catch them off guard at feeding spots or watering holes. But taking down a full-grown deer with stone-tipped spears and wooden clubs, that's no small task. It's risky. Most hunting trips come back with nothing. The gathering party, on the other hand, will fan out into the forest in search of anything edible: nuts, berries, roots, tubers, mushrooms, bird eggs, even insects and medicinal plants. Gathering might not be as glamorous as hunting, but it's way more reliable. You almost always come back with something, but it takes incredible, detailed knowledge of the natural world. You have to know exactly which berries are safe and which ones will kill you, which roots will fill your belly and which ones will leave you doubled over in pain, which mushrooms are a meal and which are a death sentence. You need to know the seasons for finding bird eggs, the secret places where the best nuts grow, and how to leach the bitterness from them before they're safe to eat. You even know where to find the right kinds of stone, the good stuff for crafting tools. Your people carry all of this knowledge entirely in their minds, hundreds of vital facts passed down from generation to generation. No books, no Google, no user guides, just memory, observation, and lessons learned the hard way. The wisdom of survival, encoded in stories, repetition, and hands-on teaching. As the fire strengthens and its warmth begins to spread through the cave, the morning shifts into the next phase of daily life, the tool check. Everyone begins the quiet, familiar ritual of examining their tools, stone blades and scrapers dull with use, and need constant attention. Wooden spears crack or splinter and have to be repaired. Clothing made from stitched animal hides wears down and needs regular mending. You turn your focus to your own personal kit, your stone knife shaped by your own hands, your sturdy wooden digging stick, the worn leather pouch that holds your fire starting gear. You pick up the knife first. The edge has a few small chips from yesterday's work. Nothing major, but it's definitely dulled. It needs sharpening. Knapping stone, the process of shaping and refining tools, is part art, part science. You have to know how each kind of stone breaks, how it splinters, how to strike it at exactly the right spot, at just the right angle, with just the right force. Too light, and nothing happens. Too hard, and the whole tool could shatter. It's delicate, focused work, and it takes years to master. You settle into a comfortable position near the fire, take up your stone hammer, and begin the slow, careful process of resharpening your knife. Each strike needs to land with perfect precision. Too hard and the tool snaps. Too soft and nothing flakes off. Hit it at the wrong angle, and you'll undo hours of work in a single blow. The sharp clack of stone hitting stone echoes gently through the cave, mixing with the crackle of the fire. All around you, others are working on their own tools, shaping, sharpening, repairing. It's a familiar, almost comforting rhythm. Chip, chip, chip. The steady percussion of survival. Your knife is coming along well. The edge is sharp now. Sharper, honestly, than most modern kitchen knives. It's owned to slice through thick hide, tough meat, fibrous plants, whatever the day demands. You test it against a strip of leather, and it glides through cleanly. Satisfying. This isn't just a tool. It might be the thing that saves your life today. Around you, the cave is now fully awake. Children old enough to help are already moving about, feeding the fire, helping organize. The sleeping areas, making sure everything is in order, and checking the water containers to see how much is left. The younger children stay close to their mothers, but even they're watching, always watching. That's how learning works here. There's no school, no lessons, no written instructions, just observation, imitation, and gradual participation in the work of daily life. The littlest ones, the babies and toddlers, are kept close to the fire where it's warm and safe. One baby starts to fuss, and her mother instinctively shifts to nurse her while simultaneously checking over her gathering gear. Multitasking, it turns out, wasn't invented with smartphones. It's been around for over 2 million years. You shift your position slightly, easing into the warmth that's slowly spreading through the cave as the fire strengthens. The ground is still firm beneath you. The air still smoky and cool, but there's a calm comfort in all of it. The familiar sounds, the earthy smells, the scratch of hides and the clink of stone. Despite the tough reality of this world, there's something about the rhythm of the morning that feels oddly soothing. This is your world. This is your family. This cave, this place is home. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, more light spills through the cave entrance, illuminating the stone walls and stirring people into motion. The pace of the morning routine picks up. One by one, members of your group begin moving toward the mouth of the cave, preparing to head out into the wild, to search for food, gather materials, and face whatever challenges the day might bring. But before anyone steps outside, there's one last critical task: assessing the day itself. Brun, along with 2 other seasoned hunters, walks to the cave's edge to study the morning. They observe the sky, feel the breeze on their skin, and listen closely to the subtle calls of birds and distant movements of animals. With no meteorologists, no radar, no forecasts, weather prediction depends on deep observation, reading a silent language made up of dozens of clues. The shape and movement of clouds can hint at incoming storms. The wind's direction offers clues about where rain might be traveling. The behavior of animals and birds can signal shifts in air pressure. The color. You'll remove once the sun gets higher and the air warms up more. Everything you're wearing is practical, built from materials your group has hunted, tanned, softened, and sewn together with sinew and bone needles. There's no decoration, no luxury, just function honed by generations of necessity. Brun gives a last look at the sky, then nods. It's time. The hunting party heads off first, moving quietly and confidently into the trees, weapons in hand. You watch them disappear into the undergrowth, already beginning the mental shift into tracking mode, listening for broken twigs, scanning for tracks, checking the wind. Then it's your turn. The gathering party moves out, spreading into a rough line as you descend the slope from the cave and enter the forest below. Immediately, your eyes begin scanning. Every leaf, every patch of soil, every glint of sunlight that might signal berries, tubers, or something useful. It's another day in the Paleolithic world. No roads, no cities, no machines, just people, stone, and survival. Same mix of anticipation and responsibility that starts every day. The forest is beautiful, yes, alive with color and sound and motion, but it's also unforgiving. Out there is your grocery store, your pharmacy, your hardware shop, your entire world of resources and risks. You take one last look back into the cave where the fire still glows, where the youngest and oldest of your people remain safe. Then you step forward with the others, your soft boots making little sound on the forest floor. Your eyes adjust quickly, scanning the underbrush for signs, berries in clusters, the feathery tops of edible plants, the telltale scratch marks of an animal that might lead to eggs or a useful hide. Every sense is tuned in. You move with the group, communicating quietly with gestures and looks. No shouting, no loud talk. Sound carries in the forest, and you don't want to draw attention. Each person takes a slightly different path, covering more ground. You pause at a tree with low branches and inspect it closely. Hazelnuts, still green but nearly ready. You mark the spot in your mind for future gathering. A few meters ahead, someone calls softly, just once, and holds up a hand. A cluster of mushrooms near a fallen log. You come over to check. Are they the safe kind? Yes. The gills are the right color. The cap shape matches what you were taught as a child. You nod, and harvesting begins. You're not just surviving out here. You're participating in an ancient rhythm. Life sustained by knowledge, skill, cooperation, and unshakable attention to the land. This is your work. This is your classroom. This is your legacy. The cave entrance and into the forest below. It's not a path in the modern sense. No pavement, no signage. But it's worn just enough from generations of feet that you can follow it by feel and instinct. Roots and rocks jut up through the soil. A slip here could twist your ankle, and there's no hospital waiting if you fall. Every step requires awareness. The group fans out a little, some heading toward the stream where certain plants grow best, others moving toward a rocky ridge where birds nest in crevices, and medicinal moss sometimes grows in the shade. You're headed into a familiar stretch of woodland where tubers grow under the trees, and sometimes berries cling to low bushes if the season is right. Your eyes are always moving, not just for food, but for danger. You scan for the ripple of fur in the underbrush, the sudden silence of birds that might signal a predator. You listen for the telltale rustle of movement that doesn't belong. It's not paranoia, it's survival. You're not the top of the food chain out here. Still, this is your place. You've walked these woods since you could walk at all. You know where the ground stays wet even in summer. You know where bees sometimes nest in tree hollows. You know which trees grow the strongest, straight branches for tool handles, and which bark peels easily for cordage. Every decision matters. Every object you gather has a purpose, and while the dangers are real, so is the beauty. Sunlight filters through the canopy in shifting golden beams. Birdsong echoes from branch to branch. Your breath slows, steadies. You are part of this world, not apart from it. People linking arms to encircle, their bark etched with the scars of time. Claw marks, fire burns, grooves where someone once stripped bark for rope or medicine. Vines climb lazily toward the light, and mushrooms cluster at the base of fallen logs. Every part of this place holds meaning if you know how to read it. Your feet find their way around roots and over stones almost without thought. This isn't just a forest. It's a living memory. You pass a particular tree with a twist in its trunk. Your group uses it as a marker, a signpost in a land with no maps. Beyond it, a stream trickles softly, the sound weaving through the underbrush like music. You pause to drink, cupping the cool water in your hands, watching the ripples for movement. Small fish dart between pebbles. A frog plops into the water and disappears. Everything is quiet, but not silent. The rustle of a squirrel in the branches above, the occasional call of a distant bird, the soft footfalls of your companions behind you. You kneel beside a patch of soil you've checked before, black, rich earth under the trees. With practiced hands, you begin to dig with your stick, gently loosening roots without damaging them. If you're lucky, you'll find edible tubers here, energy for your body, maybe enough to bring back to the cave. You feel the forest watching you. Not in a sinister way, but in the way a living system observes everything that happens within it. You're not a visitor here. You're part of it, flesh and bone and breath woven into the cycles of growth and death and rebirth. Somewhere ahead, someone whistles the signal for discovery. Maybe fruit, maybe fresh animal tracks. You stand, brush the dirt from your hands, and move to join them. The day is just beginning. You're left. Her voice is just loud enough to carry, but not enough to startle anything nearby. You move toward her, careful not to step on anything useful. She's crouched beside a cluster of low plants, gesturing for you to come see. You recognize them immediately, edible, and more importantly, in season. Their roots are starchy, good for roasting, and their leaves can be used for wrapping or even medicinal poultices. You kneel beside her, examining the patch. Some of the plants are ready to harvest, others too young. You both know the rule. Never take everything. Leave enough for the plants to regenerate, for others to eat, for the next time. Sustainability isn't a theory here, it's survival. You start digging carefully, loosening the soil around the thickest roots, placing them gently into your pouch. Every movement is practiced. Efficient. Quiet. Behind you, you hear a low whistle. 2 quick notes. Another signal. Animal sighting. Your group immediately freezes, becoming part of the forest again. You strain your ears. Kessa raises her eyebrows. Her hand moves instinctively to the small stone blade tucked in her belt. Not a weapon, just a tool, but it's what you have. The tension holds for a long moment. Then another signal. 3 short notes. No threat, just a deer moving through. You exhale. The forest exhales with you. You and Kessa return to your task. The day will be long, and your goal is simple. Gather enough to feed everyone. But under that simple task is everything. Your knowledge, your relationships, your ability to read the land, to stay alert, to adapt. This is what it means to be human, too. Not just hunting or fire making, but knowing how to listen, how to share space, how to walk a forest without breaking it. And so quietly, you keep going. Can't just wander around grabbing whatever looks edible. Doing that is a good way to poison yourself or someone else. Every plant has to be recognized, not just by its shape or color, but by when and where it grows, how it smells, how it feels. Some plants are only safe if prepared a certain way. Others might look almost identical to something deadly. That's why gathering isn't just picking food. It's a test of memory, experience, and instinct passed down from those who survived long enough to teach it. You're learning still. Everyone is, even the elders. Nature changes. Seasons shift. New patches grow where old ones disappeared. The forest is alive, and that means it doesn't stay still. After a while, your group pauses at a small clearing where sunlight cuts through the trees in golden shafts. Someone signals a break. You drop your pouch and sit on a mossy log, stretching your legs. You chew on a dry piece of meat from yesterday's catch, eyes scanning the forest while you rest. There's no relaxing completely, not here, but it's a moment to breathe. Around you, others do the same. Kessa's already inspecting a patch of ferns near the edge of the clearing. One of the older men is sharpening a digging stick with a flake of obsidian. A younger girl watches him, absorbing the technique in silence. No one's wasting time. Even the breaks are part of the work. You sip water from a leather flask passed around the group. It tastes clean, collected from a spring earlier that morning. Every bit of this world is hard-earned. Nothing comes easy. But there's a rhythm to it, a sense of purpose in every movement, every decision. And then the signal comes again, a low bird call. Time to move. The forest still has more to give, and you're not done gathering. You stand, tighten the strap of your pouch, and head back into the trees. Tree, tucked into a hollow where bees have made their home. Toma is already eyeing the best way to reach it. Honey is one of the most valuable and dangerous finds in the forest, packed with energy and sweetness, but guarded by stinging defenders who don't give it up easily. You and a few others gather around, scanning the area for signs of bears, another species that loves honey and might not take kindly to your group getting there first. But all seems quiet. Toma, who's agile and fearless, starts climbing, a smoking torch tied to his belt to help calm the bees when he gets close. Down below, the rest of you prepare. Someone gathers green leaves to wave and distract the bees. Another wets a cloth to use as a smoke shield. Everyone has a job. This is dangerous work, but worth it if done right. Minutes later, Toma reaches the hollow. He lights his torch and holds it near the entrance, the smoke curling upward and encouraging the bees to retreat deeper into the hive. Carefully, he reaches in with a carved wooden scoop and pulls out golden, dripping comb. A cheer goes up from below. He lowers it down in a leather pouch tied to a vine. The comb is warm and sticky and smells incredible, pure energy, rare and precious. You take a small piece, chew it slowly. It's unbelievably sweet, almost overwhelming after a diet mostly made of meat, nuts, roots, and bitter greens. Everyone gets a taste, and some is wrapped up to take back for the elders and children. With the honey safely stashed, the group regathers and continues deeper into the woods. The day is unfolding like many before it, challenging, beautiful, full of small victories. This is your world. This is survival. This is what it means to be alive in the Paleolithic. Barely even see, and within moments he's near the hive. The rest of you watch silently from below, tension hanging in the air. You know exactly how quickly things can go wrong. One false move, one shift in the wind, one angry swarm, and it's over. Toma steadies himself on a thick branch just beside the opening. He pulls a bundle of smoldering leaves from a leather pouch tied to his waist and gently waves the smoke into the hollow. You hear the hum of the bees shift, less frantic, more sluggish. It's working. With slow, careful movements, Toma reaches into the hollow with a carved wooden scoop. When he pulls it back out, it's glistening with thick golden honeycomb, already dripping. A low cheer rises from your group, more exhale than celebration. He lowers the first chunk in a pouch tied to a long vine, and someone below retrieves it with reverent hands. He goes back for more. Smoke curls upward, bees buzz in chaotic swirls around him, but Toma stays calm. His skin is already dotted with a few stings, but he keeps going. Another pouch lowered, another chunk of honeycomb collected. By the time he climbs down, you've gathered enough honey to last your group several days. It's wrapped in soft leaves and tucked into leather containers. Some of it will be eaten tonight, a sweet burst of energy and joy. Some will be saved, used sparingly when someone is sick or weak. Toma grins through the pain of his stings. He knows it was worth it. You clap him on the shoulder and hand him a water skin, then help smear a paste of chewed wild garlic and mud on the worst stings. An old remedy, but a good one. Then, without much discussion, the group packs up and keeps moving. The forest still holds more gifts, and there's still daylight left to gather them. Grinning, breathless, and sticky with honey, and everyone around him breaks into relieved, admiring smiles. Someone hands him a damp scrap of leather to wipe his hands, while another offers a few mouthfuls of water. One of the elders claps him on the back and mutters something about sweet courage. The honey is quickly divided, some wrapped in large leaves to take back to camp, some eaten right there under the tree. You tear off a small piece of comb, and as the honey bursts on your tongue, warm and golden, you feel that moment of joy that's hard to describe. It's not just food. It's reward, it's energy, it's tradition, it's survival. Even in this world of constant motion and practical necessity, there are moments like this, soft, golden, almost sacred. A shared win. You sit back for a moment, letting the taste linger as the others pack up. Then someone calls out. They've spotted fresh deer tracks just beyond the clearing. Time to move again. Parts of the day. Not because it's quiet, but because everything around you is exactly as it should be. The forest is alive, and you're part of it. You know your role, your purpose, your place in the rhythm of the land. The trail winds alongside a shallow stream now, and the sunlight flickers through the canopy, casting moving patterns on the water. A few others from your group dip their hands in, splashing their faces or refilling water skins made from dried stomachs or tightly sewn hides. You crouch and drink, the coolness of the water a sharp contrast to the rising heat of midday. As you move on, you notice fresh claw marks on a tree, bare, maybe a few days old. Nothing urgent, but a reminder that you share this place with other hunters. The knowledge isn't frightening, it's simply part of life. You mention it quietly to the group, and everyone stays a little more alert, eyes scanning further, footsteps a touch quieter. By early afternoon, the gathering pouches are heavier. You've collected a respectable haul: garlic, berries, mushrooms, nuts, honey. No single item would be enough on its own, but together they represent abundance, survival, skill. And most importantly, they represent connection to each other, to the forest, to the deep, continuous knowledge passed down over millennia. You're not just walking through the forest, you're part of it. Used daily in real ways: climbing, lifting, walking, gathering. There's no wasted motion, no sedentary softness. You're not training for health or looks, you're simply living, and that life demands fitness. Even your senses feel sharper out here. You notice subtle shifts in wind direction, faint animal sounds, the rustle of a bird in the underbrush, all without consciously trying. Nearby, a couple of children are watching everything. They don't ask many questions, they just observe. They see how the adults break open nuts or test berries for ripeness, how you examine the tracks near the water's edge and judge how fresh they are. This is how they learn. Slowly, steadily, through participation and example. It's not formal education, but it's deeply effective. Everything they need to survive, they're already absorbing. When the meal is done, people clean up with water and repack their gear. There's no trash, no wrappers, no leftovers. Everything is biodegradable or eaten, and the site is left just as it was. The group moves on, following a game trail deeper into the forest. Afternoon light filters through the trees, golden and dappled. You're full, not just with food, but with purpose. You're not surviving despite nature. You're surviving with it. And that's the rhythm of life in the Paleolithic. Observe, move, gather, share, respect. You carry that rhythm in your bones, just like every human who came before you. Hands are stained with sap and soil, and the earthy scents of the plants you've gathered cling to your skin. This is a kind of tiredness that feels earned, honest, satisfying, clean. You're not drained by stress or boredom, but by purpose and presence. You've worked with your body and your mind, tuned to the land and its rhythms, and now you feel the natural signal that it's time to begin winding down. As the group reconvenes at a pre-agreed meeting point, you see others arriving with their own small hauls, baskets of berries, bundles of edible shoots, the occasional trap with a small animal. Everyone contributes something. The sharing is unspoken and expected. This is a communal life where survival depends on cooperation, not competition. Denny checks your gathered herbs and nods in approval. She offers a few corrections, gently guiding your hand when you misidentify a plant or miss a key detail. Her teaching is patient and exacting. She learned this way too decades ago, and now she passes it forward as it was passed to her. There are no books, no written notes, just memory, repetition, and deep trust in the chain of knowledge stretching back for countless generations. By the time you begin walking back toward the cave, the light is dimming. The shadows grow longer, and the sounds of the forest shift, the daytime birds quieting, the first night calls beginning. Your pace slows, not out of fatigue, but out of reverence. The return home is always more reflective. You've taken from the land today, and now you're going back to your people, to prepare, to rest, to pass on what you've learned. Tomorrow will bring its own challenges, maybe tracking game, repairing tools, or preparing for colder weather. But for now, you walk through the forest, carrying knowledge, nourishment, and a deep sense of belonging. This is the world your ancestors lived in. This is the world your body remembers. Towering fig trees, their massive roots snaking across the ground like ancient veins. These trees are important to your people, not just for their fruit, which is sweet and filling when in season, but also for the animals they attract. You spot the scratch marks of a bear on one of the trunks and fresh droppings nearby, a sign to be alert. But no immediate danger presents itself. You move quietly, eyes scanning the canopy and underbrush. The forest feels different now, more mysterious, more alive in a quieter, darker way. Insects drone in the background, and somewhere ahead, a bird gives a warning cry. Everyone tightens their formation slightly, instinctively more cautious as daylight fades. Despite the potential dangers, there's also beauty here. The last rays of sunlight pierce the canopy in golden shafts, catching the dust and pollen in the air and making everything glow. The smell of crushed leaves, moss, and the faint tang of distant blossoms fills your nose. You're reminded that the forest isn't just a place you move through, it's your home. Its changes are your weather report, its signs your news, its food your survival. Eventually the trees thin slightly, and you catch your first glimpse of the rock outcrop that marks the entrance to your cave. Relief spreads through the group. You're back, safe. A small fire is already burning near the cave mouth, sending smoke curling into the evening sky. A few people who stayed behind emerge to greet you, curious to see what you've brought. Children run forward to peer into the baskets, eyes wide with excitement at the honeycomb and berries. You set your pack down with a grunt of satisfaction. Muscles ache, your feet are sore, your hands are scratched, but you feel strong, alive, part of something ancient. Dinner tonight will be simple but nourishing. Stories will be shared around the fire. The honey will be passed out in tiny, precious bites. And when you finally lie down on the cool stone floor of the cave, wrapped in furs and surrounded by your people, the forest sounds now distant. You'll sleep deeply, knowing that today you lived as your ancestors lived, fully, purposefully, and in tune with the wild world. Step deliberate and powerful, their hooves barely making a sound on the leaf-strewn forest floor. Their breath mists slightly in the cooler forest air, and their eyes are alert, scanning, always alert for predators, both human and animal. You and your group remain motionless, crouched among the beechnuts, watching in awe as the herd moves past, unaware of your presence. One of the bulls pauses, sniffing the air. Its antlers are massive, a full crown of bone that could maim or kill if it decided you were a threat. But after a moment, it continues, following the others deeper into the forest. Only when the last of the herd has vanished into the trees does anyone exhale. Denny gives a small nod, the signal that it's safe again, and the group slowly resumes their work, a little more alert now. You feel the buzz of adrenaline still tingling in your arms and legs, the sudden reminder that the forest is not a passive backdrop, it is alive and unpredictable. Moments like this sharpen you, they tune your instincts, keep you from getting complacent. You understand once again why silence and awareness are as vital to your survival as fire and food. With the immediate threat gone, the mood begins to shift. Quiet chatter returns in soft voices. You return to gathering beechnuts, your fingers working more quickly now as the sun dips lower and the golden light begins to stretch into long shadows across the forest floor. The tension lingers just under the surface, but so does a quiet sense of pride. Your group handled it well, stayed calm, moved as one. You're reminded that in this world, caution and cooperation are survival. Them on a journey often means the forest is with you, not against you. Spirits are believed to travel with the elk, ancestors, guides, watchers, and their presence is taken as a blessing, especially if the animals pass peacefully without fear. You and the others resume collecting beechnuts with renewed energy, hearts a little lighter. Even though the day is nearing its end, the encounter has shifted something in the air. You feel more connected to your group, to the land, to the ancient patterns of life that guide your people. As the last light filters through the canopy, painting the forest in gold and shadow, Denny gives the final hand signal. Time to move. With pouches full and minds still echoing with the memory of the elk, your group heads toward the cave, weaving through the trees like threads in a living tapestry. Behind you, the forest settles again, returning to its rhythms, wind whispering through leaves, birds cautiously singing, and unseen animals stepping back into the space you just left. Make your mouth water instantly after a long day of foraging. The scent wraps around you like a promise of food, of safety, of home. Your pace quickens slightly, not from urgency, but from anticipation. As you round the final bend, the cave mouth comes into view, smoke curling gently into the sky from a fire pit just outside. Figures move in the warm light, familiar silhouettes, your people. One of the children spots your group and runs to meet you, calling out a greeting. Others look up and wave, some already busy skinning game or preparing tonight's meal. Denny gives a satisfied nod. The day's work has been good. You step into the circle of firelight, greeted by the comfort of familiar voices, the warmth of the flames, and the knowledge that for one more day, your band has survived and thrived together. This is home. Not just the cave, but the people, the rhythm, the ancient pulse of human life carried forward one day at a time. To coax the best flavors from what nature provides. There's no written recipes, no exact measurements, just memory, instinct, and tradition passed down through generations. You know which plants balance the taste of rich meat, which roots soften after roasting, which herbs make a broth that soothes an upset stomach. This knowledge is survival, but it's also culture. The fire crackles as someone sets up a flat stone over the coals to roast slices of venison rubbed with garlic and crushed herbs. You take a moment to watch the fat sizzle and drip into the flames, sending up fragrant smoke. Mira crouches next to you, wide-eyed, asking what the herbs are called and how they're used. You smile, handing her a sprig of wild thyme to smell. She breathes it in like it's magic. Around you, the atmosphere is joyful but calm. No one wastes energy on wild celebration. Survival demands moderation, even in good times. But there are smiles, laughter, teasing between the hunters, and a shared sense of pride. Tonight, everyone eats well. As darkness deepens outside the cave and the forest fades into shadow, your fire glows brighter, casting flickering light on the stone walls and the faces of your people. The meal is served in portions, passed hand to hand, children first, elders next. There's no ceremony, no formal ritual, just the silent gratitude of people who understand how precious food is. Every bite tastes like effort, like cooperation, like life continuing. Later, when the meal is done and the fire burns lower, stories will be told. Not just about the hunt or the day's gathering, but older stories of ancestors, spirits, strange creatures, and the beginning of the world. The cave will echo with voices, laughter, and the occasional hush of awe. And then, when sleep finally comes, it will be the deep, dreamless sleep of those who have worked hard, eaten well, and know they are safe, at least for tonight. Ensure that everyone feels respected and cared for. Senna receiving the first bite isn't just tradition. It's a way of honoring the wisdom and experience that keeps your band strong. After her, food is shared with the children, then the rest of the group, with hunters and gatherers eating side by side. No separation of importance, just shared effort, shared reward. You take your portion gratefully. Slices of fire-roasted venison, a handful of fresh berries, a small piece of honeycomb, and a few tender leaves steamed alongside the meat in the earth oven. The flavors are rich and layered, not because of exotic spices or complex recipes, but because every ingredient tastes of the place it came from. The meat is wild and lean, with the subtle tang of smoke and the savor of garlic. The berries burst with sweet tart juice. The honey sticks to your fingers and lips, a golden reward for a well-fed day. As the meal progresses, voices grow louder, not in chaos but in warmth. Laughter echoes off stone walls. Someone starts a low rhythmic song, and others join in, drumming lightly on logs or their own thighs. There's no performance, just participation. Music is woven into daily life like everything else. After eating, there's time for stories. Brun tells a tale about a spirit animal encounter in a dream. Denny shares an old myth about how humans learn to use fire. Mira listens with wide eyes, curled up beside you, already half asleep, but unwilling to miss a word. These stories teach and entertain, but they also connect, each person to the others, each generation to the next. As the fire burns lower, people begin to settle in for the night. Some will sleep on woven mats near the fire, others in the shallower alcoves of the cave, all within hearing distance of one another. There are no doors, no rooms, no walls separating families. Just shared space, shared warmth, shared trust. You lie back, the sound of the forest now muted behind stone. Your body is sore in the best way. Your belly is full, your community is safe. Tomorrow will bring more challenges, more work, more moments like this. But for now, beneath the stars hidden by the stone roof above and the quiet breath of your people all around, you close your eyes and drift into sleep, knowing you belong. Is your sanctuary. The crackling of the fire is the heartbeat of your world tonight. Steady, warm, ancient. Everything around you feels rooted in purpose. The worn stone beneath you, the shared stories, the aroma of wood smoke clinging to fur and hair, even the quiet breathing of the children curled up nearby. It all carries a kind of sacred simplicity. Your eyes wander around the cave. Mira's tucked under her mother's arm, finally asleep. Old Senna is nodding off, her story complete, her wrinkled hands resting softly in her lap. The hunters, once tense and sharp-eyed, are now mellow, exchanging low murmurs and laughter. Even the dogs, half wild, half companions, have curled near the warmth, eyelids heavy but ears still alert. You lie back slowly, resting your head on bundled hide. The ceiling is black and textured, and you know beyond it are the stars, millions of them, unseen tonight, but somehow still felt. And in this moment, nothing is wasted, not food, not time, not energy. Every effort today, from the hunt to the fire tending, the cooking to the storytelling, was part of something larger, the survival and spirit of your people. The fire fades to glowing embers. Sleep pulls at you gently, wrapping you in the same quiet rhythm that your ancestors have known for tens of thousands of years. A rhythm of work and rest, danger and safety, hunger and feasting, noise and silence. This is Paleolithic peace, not the absence of challenge, but the deep, bone-level satisfaction of having faced it together. And as your eyes close, warmed by firelight and full from the day, you are not alone. You are part of something timeless. You are home. Sources: crushed minerals like ochre, charcoal, and powdered bone, often mixed with animal fat or plant oils to make them stick to the walls. Brushes could be made from chewed sticks, feathers, or bundles of animal hair. In some cases, paint was even blown through hollow bones to create stenciled effects, like the famous handprints. The people who painted them weren't just artists, they were storytellers, teachers, and spiritual guides. They knew the cave's acoustics, choosing spots where voices echoed, or where the flickering firelight would make painted animals seem to move. To your people, these were sacred places, spaces where the boundary between the natural and spiritual world felt thinner. As the night deepens, the energy in the cave softens even more. Some people begin to lie down, curling under their furs, while others finish tasks quietly in the fire's glow. A few hum old songs or softly tell stories to the younger ones still awake. The fire pops now and then, sending sparks briefly upward like tiny stars. You feel your own eyelids grow heavy. The heat of the fire, the rhythmic sounds of grinding, carving, and quiet conversation, all of it creates a deep sense of peace and belonging. In this shared space, surrounded by your band, and wrapped in the smells of smoke, cooked meat, and animal hide, you understand what it means to be part of something ancient and enduring. You close your eyes. The fire will be watched. The cave walls will keep out the cold wind, and your people will carry you safely into the next day. And more distant from the waking world, the cave, the fire, the quiet presence of your people, all of it wraps around you like a protective shell. You're not alone. You're part of something greater, a lineage of survival, of memory, of shared effort under the stars. As your eyes finally close, your last waking thoughts drift not to worry, but to a deep, quiet sense of pride. You contributed today. You mattered. You were strong, careful, generous. You saw the elk, felt the earth, touched the past through painted walls, and helped keep the fire alive. Sleep comes gently, like mist over the forest floor, and as it takes you, the night carries on, watchful, wild, and ancient, while you dream safely in the arms of your ancestors' home. Comfortably settled on your grass mat, your body instinctively finds the most restful position, and the day's events slowly fade into warm, content memories. The cave wraps around you like a familiar blanket, its peaceful warmth easing you into the serenity of night. The quiet, steady sounds of your sleeping companions fill the space, creating the ideal atmosphere for dreams to rise in this timeless sanctuary, an ancient haven where humans have always found shelter and rest. As night deepens beyond the cave's entrance, the world slips into the eternal rhythms that have governed Earth for millions of years. Inside, your band slumbers peacefully, encircling the fading fire, each person wrapped in the calm security of community and the earned comfort of having made it through another day. You lie back, listening to the soft breathing around you and feeling the warm pressure of furs against your skin, and then something extraordinary begins to unfold. Time starts to lose meaning. The 25,000 years that separate this Paleolithic moment from your modern life collapse into something as effortless as a single exhale. And here's the deep truth that so many overlook. You are not separate from them. The structure of your brain, your DNA, your instincts, your physical and emotional needs, they're nearly identical to those of the people around this fire. Human biology hasn't changed much in 40,000 years. You're carrying Stone Age programming in a world of skyscrapers and smartphones. These ancient people weren't primitive or clueless. They were human, just like you. They loved, laughed, worried, hoped, grieved, played, and dreamed. They mourned the dead and shared stories, watched their children grow, and stood awestruck at the beauty of the stars. The real difference isn't in how smart or capable they were. It's in the tools and technology they didn't yet have. They lacked writing, cities, agriculture, machines, but they possessed a richness most modern people have lost. They were woven deeply into the fabric of the natural world in a way that's almost impossible to imagine today. They understood every plant, every track, every shift in the wind. They survived not with convenience, but with knowledge, skill, awareness, and deep cooperation. They didn't just know how to make fire from scratch. They knew how to live within the world rather than on top of it. Their social bonds were tight, strengthened by necessity and care. They lived in balance, taking only what was needed, leaving little behind. And in doing so, they stayed in tune with the environment rather than struggling against it. And they had time. Not the kind of time modern people schedule and carve out, but organic full presence. They had time to become good at things, time to notice, time to listen and to teach. Time to sit and think and talk with no buzzing devices or overflowing calendars. Their days were spent in meaningful effort, their nights in shared rest and reflection. Your breathing deepens as these connections settle into your thoughts, syncing with the slow pulse of the dying fire. The sounds of the cave grow quieter still, a soft lullaby of peace. These people faced immense challenges: injury, hunger, childbirth, cold, sickness, all without modern help. But they didn't have the modern pressures of debt, deadlines, status anxiety, or existential dread. They didn't fear missing out. They were fully in. Their stresses were immediate and actionable. If it was cold, they built fire. If someone was hungry, they hunted or gathered together. Everything they faced could be met through shared effort. And in a strange twist of fate, that clarity, despite their hardships, may have made them more content than many modern people who have far more, yet often feel like they're missing something they can't quite name. They didn't wonder what their lives meant. The meaning was self-evident. Survive, protect, teach, love, continue. The point wasn't to find some grand abstract truth. It was to live, really live, every day, every breath. And that was enough. Your body eases even more deeply into the mat. The leaves and fur beneath you feel soft and perfectly shaped to your body, cocooning you in warmth that rivals any mattress or blanket you've known. Modern life may idolize the past as simpler, but this wasn't simplicity. It was clarity. Every task mattered. Every lesson had a purpose. Every person had a place. Children watched and learned by doing. Elders were honored and consulted. No one floated in uncertainty about their worth or role. And even when someone couldn't hunt or build, they were still held by the group, not cast aside. Disagreements were handled face to face, not with policies or lawsuits. Life was real, raw, and whole. And there was something else: connection. Not belief in something bigger, but being a part of it. They didn't feel lost in the universe. They were the universe. They walked its forests, drank its rain, hunted its creatures, and slept beneath its stars. Now only a warm glow pulses in the fire pit, dim embers fading like heartbeat echoes. The cave is bathed in shadow, soft and safe. The painted animals on the walls shimmer in the firelight, their forms flickering gently as if alive, as if watching, as if remembering. Shared human experience, an unbroken chain stretching from the firelit caves of prehistory to the glowing screens of the present. The transition from waking to sleep continues, seamless and slow, like a stream slipping over smooth stones. Your breath is steady, your body warm, your spirit quiet. In the ancient world, sleep came naturally. No artificial lights disturbed their melatonin. No endless notifications pulled them back into wakefulness. When the sun dipped behind the horizon, the day truly ended. Their bodies, in sync with the earth's rhythms, responded to darkness not with fear or boredom, but with rest. Their dreams were not hijacked by fabricated fears or overstimulated minds. They were grounded in reality, shaped by the wind in the trees, the scents of herbs and meat, the quiet rituals of fire making and foraging. They fell asleep knowing they had done something real that day. And that same sense of completeness starts to settle over you now. The tension leaves your jaw, your arms grow heavy, your breath hums like a lullaby. You feel something beyond comfort, something ancient, familiar, and deeply human. In their dreams, they saw the world they knew, the curve of an animal's back through tall grass, the sound of a creek over stones, the warm press of bodies gathered close for warmth. There were no surreal horrors or algorithm-induced anxieties, just extensions of the day's sensations, processed by a brain tuned perfectly to the world it lived in. That's where your mind is drifting now, toward a place of real things, bark and fur, ash and bone, smiles around a fire. You begin to understand, truly understand, that the world of those early humans was not some primitive shadow of yours. It was the root of it all. Their methods for flint napping and hunting are the ancestors of spaceflight and artificial intelligence. Their need to belong is the ancestor of your social networks and friendships. Their art, simple lines on stone walls, evolved into poetry, cinema, and everything beautiful we create now. They were not the beginning of a lesser life, but the start of this life. And all this knowledge, everything you now take for granted, rests on their shoulders. They figured out how to carry fire, how to share food, how to tell stories, and bind a tribe through narrative. They taught their children how to find edible roots and identify animal tracks. They created systems of fairness, care, and cooperation, ones you still crave in a world full of systems that sometimes forget their human core. You feel something shift inside as this realization sinks in. You aren't separate from them. You are them, adapted to a louder world maybe, but built from the same blueprint. Your longings, your instincts, your emotions are theirs. You chase meaning just like they did. You seek connection just like they did. The difference is only context. As the embers of the mental fire fade to glowing red, you feel the beauty of that truth wrap around you like a second fur. The modern world may seem more complex, but beneath it all, the same heart beats. Their heart, your heart, our heart. Sleep pulls at you now, not a sleep of escape, but of return. A return to something honest, ancient, and eternal. The space between breaths widens. The world becomes slower, softer. And in this sacred quiet, you let go completely, held by the same rhythms that rocked humanity to sleep for tens of thousands of years. Human experience stretches across countless generations, and you are one thread in that vast tapestry. You're a direct descendant of ancient cave dwellers, holding their DNA, their instinctive minds, their raw ability to survive, to create, and to love. In the cave, the fire fades low, its dim coals glowing softly, barely lighting the space. The darkness wraps around you like the gentlest blanket, warm and safe. Your eyelids grow heavier, and keeping them open starts to feel unnecessary. That ancient world hasn't vanished. It's layered deep beneath modern life, etched into your biology, surfacing in your dreams, wired into your mind's response to firelight, to connection, to the rise and fall of the sun. You can return to it whenever you need to remember who you really are. When the weight of modern life pulls you down, think of those first humans who faced real threats with courage and cleverness. When you feel out of place or alone, recall the strong ties that held their groups together. And when life feels meaningless, remember how your ancestors found purpose simply in surviving together and loving fiercely. You are stronger than you believe, sharper than you know, and far more in tune with nature than you've been led to think. Within you lives the quiet power of countless generations, the grit, the wisdom, the emotional depth that helped humanity rise from the harshest conditions. Your breath slows now, syncing with a timeless rhythm. Your body relaxes against the thick grass bedding, surrounded by warm animal furs. The faint sounds of others sleeping nearby fade gently, blending into a soft hum in your mind. The line between sleep and wakefulness begins to disappear. It no longer matters. You are safe. You are warm. You are part of a story that began long ago. From those first sparks of fire in a dark cave to this very moment in your own room, you are linked across time. Those cave dwellers would be amazed at today's world, at towering cities, flying machines, phones that let you speak across the planet, at medicine that heals in ways they never imagined, and food that's always within reach. But even with all of this progress, they would know you immediately. They'd see their reflection in you, the same dreams and fears, the same drive to love, to create, to belong. That unshakable human core hasn't changed. Your eyes finally close, not out of effort, but because sleep is calling, gently but firmly, like a slow river pulling you along. The cave fades into a dreamlike vision. The shapes of your ancient family blur into the faces of the people you care about now. Time stretches and folds 25,000 years ago, and today both feel close, part of the same flow. You are one with all of it, the fire makers, the farmers, the builders, the discoverers. But tonight, in this quiet moment between wakefulness and dreams, you remember how it all began, with fire, with stories, with people leaning on each other to stay alive, with the deep knowing that we are one human family. Your breath deepens even more. The fire's warmth, the softness of the furs, the closeness of your people, everything merges into a calm sense of home. And as you let go of the waking world, a quiet truth comes with you. You are part of something ancient. You are part of something powerful. You are human. You belong. The cave falls still. Only soft breaths remain. The fire glows faintly, but it still glows. Still warm, still casting the glow that has led humanity through darkness for hundreds of thousands of years, the fire remains, a quiet beacon. And you, now sinking into a deep, natural sleep, join the unbroken chain of humans who have lived, loved, and dreamed of brighter futures for the ones who would come after them. Sleep now. Rest in the quiet truth that you are exactly who you were meant to be, carrying the finest parts of humanity into whatever lies ahead. Sleep, holding the wisdom of your ancestors and the hope of all those yet to be born. Let your eyes close gently for the final time tonight. Let your breath fall into rhythm with something ancient and eternal. Allow yourself to drift with the dreams that have carried our kind through countless nights like this. Sleep deeply. Sleep peacefully. Sleep with the quiet strength of knowing you're part of the greatest story ever told, the story of human endurance, human imagination, and human love that defies time, connecting every soul that ever gathered around a fire. Rest now, modern cave dweller. Rest well.